I pledge to honor always the flag of Guyana and to be loyal to my country, to be obedient to the laws of Guyana, to love my fellow citizens. Minister of Housing, Honorable Minister Vanessa Ben, Minister within the Ministry of Housing, Honorable Minister Kwame McCoy, Minister within the Office of the Prime Minister, National Agricultural Research and Extension Institute, Ms. Dennis Tudor, Director of Operations of the Central Housing and Planning Authority, Heads of the Department of the Haruni Yarrowkabra NDC, Mr. Ferrier, representatives of the banks and insurance companies that are here today to effective beneficiaries of this wonderful development here. Now, allow me to extend a warm welcome to each of you to this opening ceremony of the Yarrowkabra to support and empower single mothers across Guyana through this life-changing initiative. Without keeping you any longer, please join me at this point in time.
My colleagues, Minister Ben and Minister Kroll, the CEO of the CHNPA, Dr. Martin Patab, Mr. Jainarine from the Ministry of Agriculture, and other invited guests. This morning is a beautiful morning. It feels wonderful being here. I'm sure all of you agree. You agree here. Many of you will be waking up right at this very place where we are children running around and playing in this wonderful community of Hyde Park, Yarrowkabra. And you could imagine yourselves here, right? The government. When we talk about anything that relates people, you, women, children, the elderly, every segment of our society, we are concerned with about small and medium and sized businesses, people who are farmers, teachers, doctors, lawyers, every single part of our society. By the way, is just one among the dozens and hundreds of other projects that we have done across this country in Guyana. Housing is putting people first because to be stable, to be able to have an opportunity of getting up together and being part of a family where we all have our respective as families, and that is the importance of creating homes for people and families to live. Safety, to make sure that you are security, the extension of security services within your community, and schools and all the things that are important. And housing is a basic necessity. And you've seen us, and you have two ministers of housing here, and I know that they can speak much more eloquently about the housing projects and a lot of what we have done. And look at where this is. This is for single parent women of our country. Single parent women are very important. We have placed tremendous emphasis on women and children, and we are providing opportunities so that you can utilize them for your own experience and opportunity for all our women across this country, and particularly on the highway, and women who will be coming from other parts of our country here, particularly in region Yarrowkabra, because our housing program takes care of women every single day. You can't beat the People's Progressive Party Civic. Going to be an opportunity for women. We have the banks here. I think they're insurance companies. And we have a full setup here so that you can for the qualification criteria of accessing mortgage and being able to have one of these homes. Of course, you can be someone who already owns here. So I want to thank my colleague, Minister Kroll and Vanessa Ben, because from the inception of this project, we've been working turning of the sod, and we kept on this project all together. And today we are here where there have been a portion of the houses program along the Suzik-Linden Highway. And just not too far from here, the Haruni housing project for young professionals and Minister Crow's and greater opportunities. This corridor is where most of our people who went their way into and from the interior, but opportunity for business too. And you just look right across the road, and in other parts of the highway, right across the road, and in other parts of the highway on the weekends, and come to enjoy tourist type of activities and adventure type of activities, and again, being on the highway is an opportunity for business shade house project. So this is a grand, exciting project starting here in Hyde Park, Yarrowkabra, and we want every one of you to soak up this year in our national budget. There's also a provision to assist families with home improvement. There's also the provision for the development bank that will provide loans to people across this country. For the expression of confidence you have in this government for our re-election to continue the grand development program across our country, to provide you the opportunity to grow wealth for your families. And so this year's budget builds upon the achievements of the previous development trajectory. And it is indeed a program that caters for every single citizen, the ordinary, our children. That is something to celebrate as well. Those of you who want to acquire your pickup vehicle, and so there are so many things, but my colleagues have to share the podium with me, so I will try to end here. Party Civic. Let me tell you, there are others out there who will shout and parade and masquerade and all sorts of things, except that they don't have the leadership, development, and success for our people across the country and on the highway, Suzik-Linden Highway. Thank you, may God bless you, and I'm looking forward.
Our Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Martin Portab, who will give us an overview of the Yarrowkabra Homestead project. Please join me in welcoming him.
Thank you very much, PS. Honorable Ministers, CEO, staff of Central Housing and Planning Authority, and to you, the beneficiaries, a pleasant good morning. Today is not about only issuing keys. It's about providing opportunities to you, the potential homeowners. I was fortunate to be part of this program from the beginning. In 2024, I was part of a team that worked along His Excellency. It was driven by the idea of His Excellency to work on a concept document that focuses on extending affordable home program to include vulnerable groups, and by, of course, single parents. The idea was pretty straightforward. It's not only to allocate a unit to single mothers, but also to include, or part of that package, to include a shade house that would allow them to service the mortgage of that property with the proceeds from the shade house. This program entails the construction of 500 units across 100 acres of land. But a key component of the construction has to do with the use of what we commonly refer to as the lesser known species of hardwood. While of course the construction now is the sector is booming, you know, we have seen the use of many materials that we have imported. This project has focused on the use of locally produced hardwood. And that is good because the project in itself not only stimulates economic benefit, part of the construction sector, it also now focuses on stimulating benefits, economic benefits in the forestry sector. And the forestry sector by itself sustains over 20,000 jobs. So if we were to look at the numbers of this investment, overall it's so far, I think it's somewhere around $6 billion we intend to invest on this project. $6 billion. $6 billion to develop the infrastructural network, the water network, electricity, construction of these houses. So if you look at the $6 billion divided by the 500 beneficiaries, that's almost $12 million per beneficiary. But the thing is, you're not paying $12 million for one of those units. You're paying $7 million. That therefore means that you're paying 58% of the true value of that house, the minimum value. And that, of course, doesn't include the appreciation of the value of this property over the next couple of years. Our program over the next 5 years is going to focus entirely on construction of houses. We have committed, we have made a commitment part of the government manifesto that we're going to build 40,000 houses over the next 5 years. We're going to address the backlog, which currently stands at 75,000. We're going to work on eliminating illegal settlement, and of course expanding the housing program. And part of that very same housing program is going to be along the Suzdijk-Linden Highway. In fact, we are already in discussion with other sister agencies on acquiring some of those lands. And so far we have identified several hundreds of acres, of which we have identified for the construction of houses. So if you look at the economic of this investment over the next 5 years, we're going to invest over $6 billion here, and billions of dollars more on the highway. So of course, over the course of the years, the appreciation and the value of these properties is gonna go up quite significantly. So you're owning a piece of real estate for $7 million, now with a minimum value of $12 million, that would likely increase over the next 5 years to a significant higher amount. In this budget alone, we have already received, and to kickstart the program, we have received almost $159 billion. So this year, we're going to start the construction of 8,000 units. And again, some of those units would be along the highway. We also intend to roll out a program where we're going to focus on constructing of drainage in new and existing housing scheme. We're going to focus on renovating houses, and even in some cases constructing new houses across the country. So the program is quite significant over the 5 years, and now that we see we are now in the first year of the 5 years, we are setting the pace at which we're going to move forward to accomplish those targets set out. So we at CHMP will continue to work with you, the beneficiary, will continue to work with the Guyanese people, ensuring that we deliver affordable housing to all. So thank you very much, and have a blessed day.
Thank you very much, CEO. That was some very important information that the CEO just gave you there. As he mentioned, these houses will be highly subsidized. In fact, generally speaking, in all of our projects that we do across the country, what it costs the government to develop the lands and to construct houses is not the price that the beneficiary pays. It's much, much lower. As in this case, you just heard, he mentioned what the cost of these homes will be, along with the shade house, and what it actually cost us to develop these lands. And also the fact that along the highway, there will be massive, there are ongoing high development, new projects coming on stream. So the values of these property will obviously appreciate quite quickly. So those who have the opportunity, please make sure that you take advantage of that. So thanks again, CEO, for that very informative overview of the project. Ladies and gentlemen, right now I have the privilege and honor of inviting to address you here our Minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, Minister Vanessa Ben. Please join me in giving her a warm welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Permanent Secretary, Mr. Copen, colleague Ministers Kroll and McCoy, Head of the Guyana Forestry Commission, Commissioner Edward Gobadan, CEO of the National Agriculture Research and Extension Institute, Mr. Jagnarayan Singh, Dr. Martin Patab, CEO of the Central Housing and Planning Authority. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. A special good morning to my sister friends here. Good morning. Nice to see you, ladies. And good that so many of you have brought the little ones. Good morning. I see a few gentlemen, one giving me a side eye. Good morning to the gentlemen, too. I'm particularly pleased to be here at this very simple ceremony, but it's very important because it provides a platform upon which you ladies can see a wonderful opportunity to pivot your current circumstances towards a more secure, more advanced socioeconomic reality. And to put it into perhaps a better, simpler language, because where you might be living now may not be an area where is authorized. We have some persons who are areas where they may be on government reserves and those kinds of things. You have persons who are perhaps still living at their parents' homes or some other place. It's small, it's cramped. You have sometimes some squabbles. And really the intent of this project is to help to address some of these issues as well. So whilst the speaker before me, Dr. Patab, gave an outline of the overall intent of the project, sometimes we need to look a little deeper into some of the more human and humane issues that persons are experiencing, and how our government, the People's Progressive Party Civic, does really care and is really mindful of these issues that our fellow citizens are experiencing, and doing its level best, our level best, to help to assist you to get better circumstances, your own home, a safe and secure environment in which you can have your life, a place where your children can thrive, and an opportunity for you to improve your financial circumstances. It goes beyond what sometimes people may see. Oh, it's just a little house and they put in these people there and the people got to pay a certain amount of money. And if really the amount that is being said that the cost of that $7 million really is reflective of what they're truly getting. Sometimes we need to think outside of the box. Look at the broader issues. How are we addressing the real issues that our fellow Guyanese are facing? And how our government, in its rollout of all the various programs, many of them you will hear and you would have heard in the presentation of the budget by Dr. Ashley Singh on Monday, and how much more you will hear of it next week during the budgetary debates, but really to get a better understanding of what the various government programs are doing to help you to improve your lives and your livelihoods. And so this project, I'm particularly pleased that Commissioner Gobadan is here, because this is a wonderful initiative that makes that kind of linkage, not only with the provision of housing and homes for people. Have the presence, as I mentioned, of CEO Mr. Jagnarayan Singh from NARI, which is under the Ministry of Agriculture. And you would have heard, and you will hear a lot more and see, that as we speak of this wonderful Homestead project, it is the provision of a home with a shade house. A shade house attached to is here. So that shade house is being provided and is included in the cost that you hear today. And that shade house presents crops that you can not only meet the nutritional needs of yourself and your family, but the excess you can sell. When you sell those crops, whether it's pak choy, celery, broccoli, kale, whatever it is that you cultivate there, you earn money. You are able to supplement your income. You're able to earn. And the intention there is not only to help you to meet your daily, your expenses, but help you as well to repay the mortgage that you will be required to get in most, if not all cases, to be able to acquire this home. So let me say it again. The shade house that is attached is not just, and so this is a different way, another aspect of the housing provision that is being done under our Ministry of Housing. That now it's not just a house, it has a shade house where you can grow crops, sell them, and earn money from that to help you to pay for the mortgage. This is a new aspect of the Ministry of Housing's program. And I know that Minister Crowell is going to elaborate on it much further, but I just want to pique your interest in that regard. Now, when I mention the forestry sector, it is because, as you see these homes, and many of the houses that are being built across Guyana now are mostly made of what I call cement and steel. A lot of concrete houses, concrete and steel foundation, very little wood. But we live in a country that is the second most forested country in the world. And we do have very good, durable, beautiful timbers. We are an exporter of timber. We produce a lot of timber in Guyana for local consumption. And perhaps some of the ladies, some of the persons here work within the forestry sector. Maybe you're working at Barama or some of the sawmills along this corridor. So the production of these enterprises, these sawmills, these plywood factories and so on, while they provide employment for you and other Guyanese and produce a product that is sold locally and overseas, it also is using those products here in these buildings. Look at them, you're seeing wood, but you're also seeing other material. When you enter the building, each and every one of you will have the opportunity today. When you enter the building, look at the profile of the walls and think that the reinforcement of each of these walls includes our natural timbers. And those timbers go beyond your green heart and your purple heart and your kabakali, perhaps, that you hear about a lot. And sometimes people just talk about mixed hardwoods. But they're using at least 15 of what we refer to as our lesser known species in the construction of each and every one of these units. And so those persons who are familiar, if you're working within the forestry sector, and you know about Lilimadabali, and Toronero, and Tatabu, and Bulletwood, Simarupa, so many other species. The home that you will acquire will have these other species in it. And the wonderful fact about that is that it's providing as well business for small loggers, for sawmills, for the plywood factory, for the people in the forestry and downstream sector in our country. So that is what I mean about this wonderful interlinkage of the housing sector being married with the forestry sector and agriculture. And I think it's beautiful. And I encourage those of you who will acquire these homes and engage in this agribusiness, that you also see the ways and means by which you help us to use more of the wood waste from the sawmills and so on along here. Because you have a lot of those fall down sizes. There's sawdust, right? There's shaving. And a lot of this very organic material, natural material, can be incorporated in the sand and help to provide the nutrients for the plants that you will cultivate, that you will grow. It will help us to reduce the waste that is there. It will reduce the burning in some instances that they do at some of these sawmill sites. It will help you in providing those nutrients that the plants need to grow, but it is a lot more organic in terms of the plant that you're cultivating. And you will have to spend less money to buy fertilizer. So I'm encouraging you to think about the broader aspects of what you're about to embark upon. And, you know, when you think a lot of times about some of the houses that are being provided in some instances by some contractors, and not specifically speaking within the housing sector, through the ministry, but some other private operators, they don't necessarily always include guttering. These units are ready so that when the shade house is attached to it, it is already at a stage where it can connect to the water supply, and it is move-in ready. They are move-in ready. And they're going to be harvesting the water through, you know, you get your black tank or whatever, so you collect the water off the roof. It's not wasting. You collect that water and you use that water to water your plants. Nice rainwater, nice for white clothes. I see some nurses amongst us. Yes? You know, there's so much that I can speak about here. But I also wanted to mention, because there's so many ladies here, and because our, you know, the people who we're targeting, particularly for this project, are women, ladies, single mothers. I wanted to mention to you, if you don't know, and I don't know if any of those persons are here, there's a Yarrowkabra coal here. No, but you know, when you're coming in here, you pass just alongside the Vulcan, where they make the Wallaby shingles and so on. You passed them this morning when you were coming in here. And there's so many who are collecting waste wood, not only from that furniture, they've got a furniture factory, they're making Wallaby shingles. And these houses also include Wallaby. But they're collecting that waste wood and making charcoal, or coals as we call it. So when you make your barbecue and so on, you know. But that is a progressive women's group, predominantly women, who started this initiative, producing charcoal. And so when you pass along the corridor here on the Suicide Highway and you see, you know, bags of coal for sale, know that those charcoal, that coal that you're buying, were produced predominantly by women. And that those women are working very close here to you. They are very hardworking, they're very diligent, they're very progressive, and I believe they would be a good match with you to discuss how, as you enter into a home here and start your own agribusiness, to engage with them to understand how they've been able to manage their own business and things that you can learn from them as you embark on your own. So I just wanted to share these little tidbits with you and to thank you this morning. It's very heartening to see so many of you. It's a wonderful response to this initiative, and I'm sure that as His Excellency watches this live that is currently being shown and sees the reports from this and the photographs, that he will be very pleased. He will be very pleased, because this is an initiative of His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, our President. I feel quite fortunate and honored to be part of it and to be part of the team at the Ministry of Housing. And I don't want to miss this opportunity to recognize the engineers who are here and the other members of our staff who have worked along with the Juravilla company to make this a reality. And whilst I speak of the company, they have been quite dedicated in ensuring that the quality of work that they have produced, the type of homes that you will see today, are of a very high standard. And I encourage persons to support companies like this because they're Guyanese, they're local, they employ fellow Guyanese. And the more we support each other, the more we support families, the more we support children, the more we ensure that our communities, our country continues to grow and thrive. This is the most exciting and transformative times in our own individual lives and in that of our country. And I think we ought to be excited to be part of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Come on, put your hands again for our Honorable Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, all, I'm sure you will agree with me as you look around here at these houses. They're extremely beautiful. The last time we were here, they took an aerial shot, and a lot of folks who saw it on television and on the newspapers, they thought it was overseas because of the white sand. It looked like snow. But these types of, and the way that it's organized, so streamlined, it's really, really impressive. Each one of you will have an opportunity at some point in time today to go and take a look at the model. You will be blown away, guaranteed. I was in there, and all those who were in there this morning were very, very impressed on the way that it's laid out. Now, all these houses here, they were constructed, as Minister pointed out, by Durville Homes, and we have here in our presence Mr. Edward Pillay. He's the Senior Engineering and Operations Manager of Durville Homes, so I'd like to invite him to offer brief remarks.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. On behalf of Durville Homes, we started out this project with the intention to deliver high quality, even though it is a low-income home. We specifically, within our design and our finishes, set out with the intention to raise the standard of the low-income bracket in terms of finishing. So it is a great pleasure to be here today and to have the opportunity to be in the homes and get the feedback from the public and even from government officials on the quality of the home, and everybody is happy and satisfied. I think this is one of our greatest accomplishments. And on behalf of Durville Homes again, I hope that everybody you will have the opportunity to have a detailed look of the home, and we hope you like the home and you're interested, and we look forward to working and partnering with the government even beyond this project. We have 50 homes that is finished, and we're going to 200 and possibly 500, and we look forward to continue partnering with the government on future projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pillay. Thank you for that. Ladies and gentlemen, the Ministry of Housing and Water has partnered with the National Agricultural Research and Extension Institute, and for the shared houses that Minister Ben spoke of, that will be a component, a part of these houses that you see here. We have in our presence the Chief Executive Officer of NARI, Mr. Jagnarayan Singh. I'd like to put your hands together and welcome him to make a presentation on the shade houses. Mr. Narayan, Jagnarayan. After?
My name is Aaron Ramrup. I'm an extension coordinator attached to the National Agriculture Research and Extension Institute. So today I will explain the shade house that will be used for the Homestead, Yarrowkabra Homestead housing development, right? So as you can see, this structure here is 20 by 20 feet. Mind you, all of this, these materials are locally, you can get them locally. The mesh, the plastic, and these pipes. So let us start first with the structure. These structure are galvanized pipes, which we would have used to do the fabrication. In addition to that, we have the shade house plastic, which are UV treated and light diffuser. And as you can see here, the side mesh, these are insect-proof mesh that we would have used. This shade house here, what we are planning to do under these shade house, we are going to grow these high-value crops, such as celery, shallot, broccoli, cauliflower, the bell peppers. This here you can have this at the back of your house, producing fruits and vegetables for the local market. This shade house here, generally it will take just over 3 hours to build, and the cost, this shade house is a low-cost shade house. For the matter of fact, the price for this, that when we would evaluate, that when we compute it, it's just over $200,000 to set up this shade house. In addition to this project, the National Agriculture Research and Extension Institute is ready and fully in support of this program, where we will be providing technical training in the agronomic practice of the various crop types that I would have mentioned previously. So rest assured, our support for this program to the community of Yarrowkabra, we will provide technical guidance and training continuously to those who are going to be involved in planting of these shade houses.
Thank you very much, Aaron. Thank you very much, PS, Honorable Ministers, Minister Kroll, Minister McCoy, and Minister Ben, CEO, Central Housing, Mr. Gobadan. Pleasant good morning to each and every one of you. I guess the beneficiary of this project. And I would want to first of all say is that yesterday I was asked to come and represent the Ministry of Agriculture when the minister called me. I'm sure I can't fill the boots of the minister, but I'll try and see what I can talk about agriculture here and the shade house. And I'm glad that video was done with Aaron and the first sample of what we would have done at NARI as a demonstration. I want to thank the Ministry of Housing to at least add some agriculture, bring some green into this, you know, you put some green. Agriculture, I'm sure, is one of the things, you know, a lot of us here to Guyana, or four parents here to Guyana. And it's very important. The shade house that is built there, the demonstration, you would have seen a lot of times we use wood. Wood can last about 3 to 5 years, the frames. The metal can give you up to 25 years. So with this low-cost metal shade house, the frame can last you very long. You may have to change the plastic from now and at least 3 to 5 years, but you would have something at the yard you can keep. The idea behind this whole shade house process, and then we have right close by here, we are setting up a food hub. Guyana, we are setting up to use as a center where we will keep a lot of produce from Guyana and to export to the Caribbean. There is meetings of minds, and we've gone advancing it very far, where we will be exporting from a wharf at Parika that is being constructed. In the budget, you might hear about money allocated to that, where they will process the food, package it, and keep it at the Yarrowkabra food hub site, and to be transported in the first instance to Trinidad and Barbados. When I was asked to talk about a little bit about agriculture and what we are doing, I got a list of things here that I have to say, but I'll just leave that to the side. And I can tell you, agriculture should always be with you. Agriculture can wish. I remember a story, and I'll ask the ministers them to indulge me in a little bit of history. Just about 2-3 minutes. In 1989, for those who are old enough would know, in 1989, Guyana ended up in something they call structural adjustment. We had a structural adjustment budget where we devalue everything. I was working at the Rice Research Station then, living at Borman and Maikoni. And at the same year, and this is a little lighter side, on the same year I would have married. I had my friend and asked me, why you married now by? He said, well, me tired punishing alone, so I had to punish with somebody else, right? But that's not all. What happened that year, when I see the salary and the devaluation and all the austerity measures that I may have to go through, I start planting in the yard. And the planting in the yard, a little piece in the yard I start planting, you know, some months I didn't have to go to the bank. Because what I was planting in the yard, I sell it to the workers and take some, people come and buy it right there. So agriculture can form part of your development, and I think that's a very good concept of putting a shade house so you can get involved in this agriculture venture. And I'm sure we are committed from the ministry standpoint, from the Minister of Agriculture, we are committed to ensure we support this project. As Aaron mentioned to you in the video, the design of the metal and everything, we got some and we're rolling them out. And it will take you, if you would have seen the video, the one that was done on Hyde Street, opposite State House, we started building that. Minister Kroll was there. Minister Mackay, I'm not too sure if you were there. A little bit you came late. We started building the thing about 5 o'clock, and by 8 o'clock we had plants under that building. By 8 o'clock. So it's not a long process, but as Aaron mentioned, we are committed to helping you, to hold your hand through this entire process, and to be part of this development, which we can help every one of you, the single mothers, and help you to pay back. In the original concept, I'm not too sure if Dr. Pertab would to the FS. When we were designing this, we also would have put some fixed trees, like some coconut trees in front of the home, 2 coconut trees, because over time we could put, you can even sell, you can even, you know, a lot of things can happen. And we are committed to ensure that this place don't leave as snow, but you will see a lot of green involved.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jack Narayan, for your remarks regarding the shade house. And as was mentioned in the display, the video there, you don't have to be a farmer. NARI will be there to guide you through the entire process. And as was mentioned before by our minister, Minister Ben, that this is an income opportunity for you. While this can be subsistence for yourself at home, for the explanation on the shade house and how that will work. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been here for a while. At this point in time, I'd like to now invite our Honorable Minister of Housing, Minister Colin Kroll, to address you on this exciting initiative by the government. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Permanent Secretary. You invited me at a time when we were all blessed with some showers, right? Coming from above. Good. Recognition to my colleague ministers, Minister Ben, Minister McCoy, Permanent Secretary who's our program here today. And I want to recognize a number of CEOs here. You heard from Dr. Martin Patab, the CEO of Central Housing and Planning Authority. We also have represented, you just heard from Mr. Jagnarayan Singh, CEO of NARI, and he's here representing the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Minister Zulfikar. We also have the CEO for Guyana Forestry Commission, our Commissioner Edward Gobadan, and he's here representing Minister Vikram Bharat. Chairman of the Neighborhood Democratic Council for Haruni Yarrowkabra, Mr. Faria, representing Durvilla Homes, well, you heard from the project manager, Mr. Edward Pile, but the more important persons here today, you, the potential homeowners, beneficiaries, shortly. You gentlemen I see in the crowd, y'all jealous, you can't leave the ladies alone, huh? Members of the media, staff of Central Housing and Planning Authority, and I recognize some villagers or residents along the Linden Suzak Highway to Mary vicinity. Good morning to one and all. The pleasure is mine to join you here this day today, and actually happy that we have some rain so it can cool the atmosphere a little on this important activity, and important because here again we're moving another step forward towards implementing an initiative of ensuring that we respond to home ownership, making availability for different segments of our population towards home ownership. And so the difference is others can shoot from behind, well, some they don't put their face, they can shoot behind a screen, shoot from their hips, and they can blur how much they would like. The real evidence and the tangible work that you see being done by the Ministry of Housing and all sectors of the government is today. That's why you are here today. So it's only fitting that this launch follows the presentation of Budget 2026, for which the debates will begin on Monday. And as you've heard, a 12% last year, putting people first. Minister McCoy would have outlined for you what we mean by putting people first in the context of Budget 2026 reaffirms your government's unwavering commitment to investing directly to improve people's lives, with housing and community development being among our highest national priority. The programs that are being developed through our budget will continue to expand, and more directly here in the housing, to make access to affordable financing, to accelerate housing development, and to strengthen the infrastructure that is needed to support thriving communities across Guyana. At the Ministry of Housing, we have started our year strong and on a positive trajectory towards meeting our 2026 target and our national objectives. So our overall objective, and when a budget is presented, first of all, you have a mandate that is given by the people of Guyana to implement the manifestos, commitments, and programs that we would have come to you to seek, as well as to implement programs and policies that we must be able to deliver on them. So when we come to say to you that these are the different things we intend to implement once you elect us, we therefore start off by recognizing that this is what we will achieve when we come back to you in 5 years' time to seek your renewed vote or your mandate. These are the things we will achieve. And in order to achieve that term, the programs and policies in the term, and in this case we're speaking now 2026, 2020, 2031, has yearly targets. And so the initiatives that you see now is the commencement of fulfilling our overall targets. So, for example, you will hear us saying this year, on the allocation side, we intend to achieve a minimum of 15,000. That is part of an overall 5-year program that will remove the backlog of all of the regions, recognizing that our pending largest block is in Region 4. So you will still have some arrears. But even so, in 2 weeks' time, we will be launching an initiative that we started prior for Region 4, where you have the target being 2019 and prior. In 2 weeks' time, we will launch the portal that will allow persons, not even that you may be able to register yourself. We have you in the system. But if there's some circumstance in which your phone number or your address may have changed, we are moving the target on Region 4 starting in 2 weeks' time with 2021 and prior. So we're working, we're bringing up. And this year, and another target we've said is that we will construct a minimum of 40,000 houses. That's our 5-year target. This year, therefore, we have set to achieve 8,000, and today we're talking about the first set that will be counted under the 2026 target here at Haruni. And I'll explain about Haruni a few. So these are not abstract figures that you hear in our budget speech or you will hear us speaking about. They therefore represent initiatives to help real families, real opportunities, and real progress. Projects like these, therefore, are central to achieving national goals and ensuring that we have inclusive development like today, where we're targeting a particular segment of our population, our women-led gender. So back in 2024, so let's backpedal a little. Our president, Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, the brainchild of this initiative, unveiled a master plan for what we call the Homestead program, which signals a bold and inclusive approach for housing delivery in Guyana. And announced then is the Yarrowkabra Homestead project. But I want to now move your minds or your thinking or your knowledge that we will have to shift the name to call it the Hyde Park. Let me repeat, the Hyde Park Homestead project, because while all of us, including forestry, we call here where we at now Yarrowkabra. In doing the research and in registering our plan, etc., the correct name is actually in the rear of Hyde Park. But we ain't gonna go with all those long names. We'll just say Hyde Park, right? And I'm sure we can't really remove from the memory of others the Yarrowkabra. So this project constitutes a key component of our national vision and is being implemented as part of the initiative to reflect on government's determination to ensure that development remains people-centered, equitable, and far-reaching. Fisheries that we have targeted here today and onwards for this program will explain when we say far-reaching, because we have engaged persons who have applied or pending applicants that reside on the Linden-Suzik Highway, that reside on the upper part of the East Bank Demerara, or those that are part of employment, for example, at the Chedijagan Airport, that can see them, therefore, moving onwards to reside in close proximity even to where you work. This housing initiative is designed to provide affordable, sustainable homeownership opportunities for both low and middle income female-headed communities. Let me repeat, female-headed communities, households, sorry. It was conceptualized to promote economic upliftment along the Suzdijk-Linden corridor, and it forms part of our wider housing program, which aims to reduce the national housing deficit, to expand access to home ownership, as well as to foster resilient, well-planned communities. More particularly, this project emphasizes the empowerment of women-led households and recognizes the vital role that women play in strengthening families, sustaining communities, and advancing national development. The Hyde Park Homestead project encompasses, and our target is 500 housing units across 100 acres of land, designed not only to provide shelter, but as has been outlined by previous speakers, to support sustainable livelihood through the Shade House program or initiative. Each homestead will therefore include a shade house, enabling year-round agriculture production and provide families with meaningful income generating opportunities or supplementing generating opportunities. Additionally, this development reinforces our national commitment to environmental sustainability and resilience. In this regard, the homestead represents an integrated model of development, combining housing, sustainability, and economic empowerment within a single community framework. When President Ali announced this project, he called for private sector involvement. And I'm happy that answering that call was Durvilla Homes. Our government recognizes that delivering transformational projects, national projects, requires strong partnerships with capable private sector stakeholders. The Ministry of Housing values these partnerships, and we commend Durvilla Homes and its workforce for their innovation and their commitment to quality delivery, as you will all have an opportunity to see when you walk through the homes. Through this collaboration, we have completed so far that are ready to be handed over to beneficiaries 50 of such houses, and this is part of the construction of the first 102 homes, for which 50 is completed, 25 is at about 50% phase completion, and the other 37 is about to commence. And all are on this stretch that where you are along this stretch here. The other portion of the 100 acres will therefore see, as part of the development, it going behind me. And so one will expect that this will become a massive community whereby, as an economic support venture, you are earning additional revenue for yourself. I wish to commend the potential applicants. You have come a long way because you are all pending applicants in our system. Today, with your pre-qualification, you are one step closer to owning a home. Home ownership, therefore, is more than just a possession of a structure. It is a foundation for your sustainability, dignity, for generation development, and lasting security for yourself and for your children. When this process is over today, and you are able to pre-qualify and we move to the next phase, this will be your peaceful environment in which you will live. I want to thank the banks and the insurance companies that are here for supporting this endeavor. I want to urge all of you who are participating in the pre-qualification process to ensure that you ask as much questions from these officials, because your options that you may have before you is not limited. The Ministry of Housing, in collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture, stands as your partner in this new venture. And most of all, I want to remind you, standing in your corner is the government. As you have seen with testimony on the national budget presented on Monday, whereby some measures were announced, one of which include that your low-income mortgage ceiling is going to be increased from $20 million to $30 million, which makes available loans that more attainable for both the low and middle-income families. With this, you can also embark, even on what you have here, you can embark on other expansion, because these, as you've been told already, the combination is $7 million. Another announcement is the $30 million, in keeping with the movement from 20 to 30, low-income mortgage ceiling that is extended now to approved insurance companies who can now offer home loans under the same terms as commercial banks. Borrowers, therefore, now have a greater flexibility and more financing options. And we've seen yesterday the Insurance Association issuing a statement of support and thank you for their inclusion. We've also announced, for this more for your listeners, however, a $7.5 billion initiative to aid in home improvement, a subsidy program that says where we have started already, for example, with the Steel and Cement initiative that targets support for commencement of your foundation. Now we are responding where a lot of persons have indicated to the government and to the ministry that they are seeking a little support, maybe to change their roof, to change their window, to change their step, and their reach is beyond them. You have another support in that, whereby we'll help existing homeowners, as well as opportunities for further construction of houses to help support some, based on a measure that we will announce, that are in dire need of support. The Ministry of Housing will therefore continue to construct roads and highways to keep communities connected, and including here, once we will then move to the first phase of the construction of the road for these houses. I want to use this opportunity quickly to make some additional points to you, the beneficiaries. And that is, we have seen, and persons will forward advertisements sometimes they see on social media or other means, whereby you are a potential owner because you came through an application process. And you're a potential owner because you are also recognizing that you have a need. I speak here sometimes when you see advertisements of persons, of houses for resale, and you recognize when you look at the ad, or sometimes they don't use a real picture of that house because they don't want us to trace it. And you see it's actually one of the houses through our housing program. It's doing a disservice to someone who is really in need. And so we are examining measures at our level to go after such persons. And I want to use this opportunity to say that we will have no tolerance for persons who seek to resell their home. or these homes. I also want to say that what we have today is really the first phase of this initiative. So as I said to you, the first target is overall 500 houses. And I'll outline in a few minutes the highway plan, or what we have ongoing on the highway. But this is our first phase. So for your listeners who live along these corridors and are in our system, they will still have opportunity to continue to come in and to engage us so that we can send them onwards to the bank for pre-qualification. So even if you don't get through today, because we have called quite a few persons from our system, you still have opportunity for more. Hope I'm clear in that, right? Because you may have some time, you may have to get additional documentation or what is required. When you engage with the banks, you will know how far your ability reaches. The shade house, I want to make this other point that we saw Mr. Aaron from NARI giving what the frame of the shade house will look like. I could not help but thinking that I see its metal frames. Kwame, those frames will outlive the period for the loan or the mortgage period that persons will pay for their houses. So you have a long-lasting opportunity for economic venture through this support with these shade houses. Make use of them. And we'll play very shortly what the main economic part of the shade house will look like, as outlined by His Excellency in a sample that he has set up at the One Guyana Kitchen on Main Street. So you will have that opportunity to see what is going to be extended here to you on this program. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of activities under the Ministry of Housing is taking place on the highway. And that is no coincidence. The East Bank of Demerara, for where we have our housing program, we have reached to the conservancy. So we have reached our saturation point. There therefore has to be a shift to where additional lands are located. Lands are on the Linden-Suzdijk Highway for development. And then also recognizing the increased shift in population, the growth in population on the highway itself, where we have to put persons to be living where we want you to live in comfortable environment. So we have to arrest the situation on the highway where persons can believe that any state land they can go, clear some trees or bushes, and you build a structure. Your government is putting an initiative to respond to that. We won't have any excuse. On the highway alone, on this Linden Highway, right now, if I am to quantify the level of investment that we have, it's a minimum of $7.5 billion on the Linden-Suzdijk Highway. $7.5 billion. And so let's start let's start at the junction of the highway. And I will digress a little to let you understand what we're doing. First of all, you know more than myself especially on the weekends, what the junction looks like. You can't have space to park. Well, you have a lot of persons selling from different trucks and facilities. So we will have what is called regularization of that area. And that is a plan to consolidate and put persons in a concentrated area. We're not displacing or removing them from their business. We put them in a consolidated. You can have a hub of even for persons who are coming on the highway to enjoy this lovely black water too. right, in addition to other ecotourism attraction, that they can have a hub that they can go, buy your fish, buy your shrimp, buy your chicken, buy your chips, buy your food, buy your cold liquid, whatever it is, a concentrated area. So that is on stream next. But in terms of investment as I speak, the first we have is at Silica City. And on the phase one, for the infrastructure, we have investment about $1.2 billion. And then if you take into consideration where we have under construction 110 houses, we're talking about another $1.2 billion investment. So that's 110 young professional houses. We have already awarded for the phase two on Silica City, and that's another $2.9 billion. This is infrastructure work. Then we come up, we have here where we at now, and so for the area where we are now, to date, the infrastructure side, you can round it off to $400 million, and that is to prepare this area, grade it, and etc., for you to have the houses. When you take into consideration the investment on the houses, so the first 112 houses, that's at another close to $500 million investment. The persons who are going to come live here now, we have already drilled a well. So we have drilled a 6-inch well, and it has been activated. So that's an investment about another $17 million. And then you move upwards, we have another area called Haruni, where we have invested about $1.3 billion, where we're going to be building some houses too, different type of houses. In total, as I said to you, when you take all of that into consideration, we're talking of an investment of $7.5 billion. But let's come here now. I said to you, the infrastructure work, the houses, the well, just those three. I'm not even taking into consideration the electricity. I'm not taking into consideration the road work that is going to be the permanent road work for the completed area of the houses. I'm not even taking that into consideration. As I speak here, we have a total investment of $903 million. So the point the CEO was making about subsidization, that just the investment to date, not the total investment to come, that equates to about $8 million minimum starting on the houses. But yet, you'll have the shade houses, you'll have the houses, and the land at $7 million. That's what we mean by subsidization. So when people want to, again, I'm not going to use that today for that. Next week I'll go into it. When people want to speak about where is additional resources going towards to help with home ownership, we must understand that already your government is subsidizing the cost at which you're getting your home. Next week, I'll digress into other initiatives. So therefore, in summary, and I see the signal because I get some people are tired hearing me now, but I wanted you to understand what it means. What it means when you're about to become a homeowner. Too often, we come to an activity, very often you may have an envelope and you're pulling a number or in that regard, and we don't understand the work that goes on behind the scene. I want to thank the Ministry of Public Works for assisting somewhat on the main road coming in, but it therefore means we'll have to do some long-term plans, and you know this road, the Glass Factory Road. So I want to thank them very much, and the minister particularly. So today's launch stands as a testament to what is possible when government policy, private sector partnership, national vision aligned in service to the people. Through this Hyde Park or Yarrowkabra Homestead project, we are therefore not building homes, we're building communities, empowering you, the women, strengthening your family, and onwards to a more inclusive Guyana. Together, we are building our future and a stronger Guyana. I thank you all very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister Colin Crowell. Come on, let's give the minister a big round of applause there. You have sat patiently. You have gotten some very important information about the exciting opportunity that exists right here at Hyde Park, or the rear of Hyde Park, the Homestead project. Now, I'd like to invite at this point in time Ms. Cathy Alfred, a member of the community, who will do the vote of thanks. Ms. Cathy Alfred.
To God be the glory, great things He has done. Honorable ministers, distinguished guests, community leaders, my fellow women folks, and stakeholders. On behalf of the beneficiaries and wider communities, I extend sincere, heartfelt thanks to the government of Guyana for choosing the highway, as this project could have been launched some other part of Guyana. These initiatives represent more than construction of houses. It symbolizes hope, dignity, and empowerment for women and their families. By providing safe and secure housing, the government is strengthening foundation for stable households and sustainable communities. We are especially grateful to the Honorable Minister and the ministries, recognizing the importance of supporting women through practical and lasting solutions. We also thank all partners, technical teams, workers who contributed to making this project a reality. Are truly appreciated. Once again, we express our deepest gratitude to the government of Guyana, the PBPC.
Thank you very much. Come on, give her a big round of applause again. She did a wonderful job in the vote of thanks. Now, I'd like to invite you to remain where you're seated. At this point in time, the members of the head table will take a walkthrough of the model home that is displayed to my right. And after that, you'll be guided, for those who want to also take a walk through there, the staff will guide you one row at a time to go into it. In addition to that, I will invite Ms. Gayatri, our operations manager, to guide you further on the process in terms of the pre-qualification process. Give Ms. Gayatri a big round of applause.
That's initially where we were planning to work, but we have a number of persons over there. So please bear with us as we try to
another batch of houses, those are the persons that will be the beneficiaries of those houses, as long as we go through and you fit the criteria. The houses do not come furnished. What it comes with is the physical structure and, of course, the take into consideration the shade house, which is the program. While some of you may want to do the walkthrough with the houses, when that is available, you'll do so, but I would suggest that some of you seek the guidance and you start the process at the same time. So we will give you guidance as we move forward. If you have any questions, all of our staff, or majority of our staff, they are attired in the orange jersey, so please seek guidance from them. You have questions, just come forward and answer, as Minister would have encouraged. As long as you're speaking with the staff, ask as many questions as possible. Everything that you need to seek clarity on, please do so we can answer those questions. If anybody is sitting under this tent with a number that says pre-qualification, please come forward to my left, please, so I can have the officers take you over. I would encourage you, as you're approaching the officer, what you can do is take out your documentation, maybe your acknowledgement letter or your ID card. So when you get up there, it's a faster process. If you do not have a letter and you would have applied, you'll just take out your ID card, submit that to the officer. They'll be able to check whether you have an existing application with us. Now, I know some of you may not have applied. If you're interested in having an application form to now do that application, that can also be provided to you. If you already have the application with the required documents, we have officers that can now do that interview, so you can lodge that application today.
Edward Pile, Senior Operations and Engineering Manager for Dorvilla Homes. Dorvilla Homes is all about manufacturing and constructing of prefabricated timber homes throughout the region. We have 3 models that is currently under construction. For this project in Guyana, which is the Single Mothers project, we are currently constructing the 625 model home, which is the home that you could see behind me. So within our system, the prefabricated system, we manufacture prefabricated timber panels, timber frame panels at the factory, and we ship them to site and we construct the home. Operations also start from the forest. We purchase lumber, we process lumber, then to the panels, and then to a finished home. So just a little bit detail about the system. It is a timber frame home, and we have external cladding that is wood and also cement board, which you could see if you look at the outside of the home. This part of the home is timber cladding. Specifically, we use mixed hardwood. There's a category of mixed hardwood that is commonly used in Guyana, which is Kabakali, Shibidan, Taranero, Tatabu. We also try to incorporate the lesser used hardwood species, for example, Lemonabali, Itabali, and a lot of other species that is not so commonly used, but we put them through a lot of strength tests and we incorporate them in a part of the home which is more suitable, right? So all the areas that is brown on this home is timber. Then we have concrete board. Concrete board is on the outside. All the parts that is in the dark gray is concrete board. And all these panels is sitting on a solid concrete base. I would just like to give you a walk around, because what we did when we was designing this home, we tried to make it easy for the homeowner if they want to add on, because in this day and age, you know, a lot of people is accustomed to hot water and hooking up a pressure pump with the type of faucets that we put in these homes. It would be most efficient with using a pressure pump. So we have the accommodation here, which is the electrical accommodation. For one of this would be for the water heater, and one for the pressure pump. So if the homeowner chooses to add a hot water system and the pressure pump system, the accommodation is here, so it is easy to add on. Specifically choose these type of windows. This is a casement window toward a 6x48, which is a double pane glass. The reason why we chose the casement window as compared to the sash, it gives 90% ventilation, 90 to 95% ventilation, as compared to a sash window, which only provides 40% ventilation. Important point to note, if you look at the ceiling on the eave, we call it the eave ceiling. It is completely sealed off with a hardwood, using a piece of hardwood. So that makes it bat proof, insect proof. So with your ceiling on the inside, there is no risk of bat getting in your ceiling. Apart from the substructure and the superstructure of the home, there is the finishes. So now this is the stage. Although this is a low-income home, this is the stage where we try to incorporate clean finishes, modern colors, and a lot of modern fixtures to give the homeowner a feel of not a low-income environment as we would normally be accustomed to, but an experience of a high-quality finished home, right? So if you notice, like we mentioned before, this is a steel door for security purpose, and we have a deadbolt also with a handle lock. So the deadbolt is for additional security purpose. So the wall cladding and the ceiling cladding is made out of a high quality polymer material, which is fire retardant and has a textured coating on top of it to create a modern kind of look. In this area, if you notice, there is an outlet here. This is the outlet for the television. Behind the cladding in this area, we made sure that we put the accommodation for a television. So the homeowner, you could mount your television anywhere in this area and you have a solid backing that is to accommodate the TV. Apart from the wall and ceiling cladding on the inside, we have the molding that is around the window and the skirting, which is manufactured within our company, made out of the hardwood species that we're using in the home. The skirting, the way the skirting is joined into the molding that comes around the window is to accommodate for when the homeowner decides to put a finish to the floor, a complete finish to the floor, they could easily take out the molding from the skirting without disturbing the molding that goes around the door and easily replace it. Now, the only part of this home that is not completely finished, but we have a semi-finish, is the floor, right? And one of the reasons for this though is to give the homeowner a chance to be a part of the finishing. So there's some recommended finish that we would recommend as a company. There's SPC, there's tiles. Some people might prefer tiles, some people prefer the SPC, like we have in the bathroom area. We did not want to leave the bathroom area with the semi-finish because, you know, this is an area where you might have water spilling and so we finished the inside here with the SPC. The next thing that we have in this home that is of has a lot of value and is of more modern feel, apart from the color, the kitchen cabinet has a countertop that is quartz. So the kitchen countertop is made out of quartz. We have a stainless steel sink, a modern faucet for the sink. This area here is where you would put the fridge. We have the accommodation, all the plug-in accommodation for the appliance. Just to have a look at the cupboards. This has a lot of space on the inside. It has a double hinge door to give you full access. We have 3 drawers on the sink cabinet, and then we have a big drawer at the bottom, which all of this is, we call it soft closing. So if you push it, close easy, right? And then this area is where we have the plumbing for the sink, but you could also store stuff underneath here, right? We could take a look at the back door. The back door is just as the front door. Same steel door with the same security lock with a deadbolt and a handle lock which goes out into the backyard, right? take a closer look at the bathroom area, and this is where we try to incorporate more of a modern feel and a high quality vanity. So this is a more modern looking faucet. You have some cupboard space at the bottom of the sink. Also have some cupboard space behind the mirror, and this mirror has the defrosting, so when you're using the hot and cold water and you're showering with the hot water, you could put this on and it would keep the mirror from fogging up. Right, so all the faucets that we're using in the home is modern faucets. This faucet is a hot and cold faucet, but like I mentioned earlier, we have the hot water pipe connect, but the homeowner now could install the water heater and connect it, and you have hot water in your shower. Now, the base of the shower area, we have a shower tub, which is fiberglass material, which is strong, very strong, so solid. So in this area, you just need to put a shower curtain, and the shower is ready to be used. As you come into the bathroom, we have a door that is going into the toilet area. We specifically designed this because this is a low-income home and you might have 3-4 people, adult people living in this home. So to make the bathroom area more efficient, 3 people could actually be using this at the same time as compared to a self-contained bathroom. So somebody could use the toilet, close the door, pull the shower curtain, somebody could be in the shower, and somebody could also shower. The bathroom area, we have bedroom number 1. This is the bedroom to the front of the building. We have the door is a hardwood door, but it is coated with a wood finish, but the high-end wood finish is more like a modern look, and it's a very clean finish, right? So we have a modern lock that works well. As you come into the room, you could arrange your room however you want, but the way how we design it and we recommend is to put your bed against the wall here. You have 2 windows, and in this room you have accommodation for AC. So there's a AC power accommodation. So in the event you want to add an air conditioned unit to the home, you don't have to be digging in the walls to find the power. So that is there. This is one. If you notice throughout the home, we have recessed, modern looking lights, and even the switches that we're using is a modern looking switch. Room similar, 2 windows, AC accommodation in the room, and generally that is it. There you have it. Just a quick recap. This is the Yarrowkabra Homestead project, where we're constructing 200 units of 625 square feet, 2-bedroom homes. Currently, we have 75 homes that is ready to be allocated, and we're under construction to get to 200 as soon as possible and even further. Thanks again.
My name is Aaron Ramroop. I'm an extension coordinator attached to the National Agriculture Research and Extension Institute. So today I will explain the shade house that will be used for the Homestead, Yarrowkabra Homestead housing development, right? So as you can see, this structure here is 20 by 20 feet. Mind you, all of these materials are locally, you can get them locally. The mesh, the plastic, and these pipes. So let us start first with the structure. These structures are galvanized pipes, which we would have used to do the fabrication. In addition to that, we have the shade house plastic, which are UV treated and light diffuser. And as you can see here, the outside mesh, these are insect-proof mesh that we would have used. This shade house here, what we are planning to do under these shade house, we are going to grow these high-value crops such as celery, shallot, broccoli, cauliflower, the bell peppers. This here you can have this at the back of your house, producing fruits and vegetables for the local market. This shade house here, generally it will take just over 3 hours to build, and the cost. This shade house is a low-cost shade house. For the matter of fact, the price for this that when we computed, it's just over $200,000 to set up this shade house. In addition to this project, the National Agriculture Research and Extension Institute is ready and fully in support of this program, where we will be providing technical training in the agronomic practice of the various crop types that I would have mentioned previously. So rest assured, our support for this program to the community of Yarrowkabra, we will provide technical guidance and training continuously to those who are going to be involved in